If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time, all of the time, all of the time.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the May the 13th, 2025 edition of the Neely Fuller's Counter-Racist Code Show. I am one of your co-hosts, Mr. Bobby, and with me is Gate. And he will be with us and bringing up different subjects that we are going to have for discussion in the hour that we have. And you can get us on the Produce Justice website at producejustice.com. That's one way you can get us. And then you can also go to, what is that? Is that YouTube? Yeah, the YouTube channel, YouTube at Produce Justice. And then, of course, Facebook at Produce Justice, Neely Fuller Jr. And then there's another way that Gate was speaking to me earlier about. Gate, what is that way that they can do on producejustice.com site?
Yeah, and good morning, Mr. Bobby. Good to see you this morning, and welcome everybody to another exciting show. This is the Counter-Racist Code Show started by Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., great educator, and he went home to visit his ancestors on February 1st of this year, and we are determined to keep his legacy alive by way of this show. You can also participate in the show, as Mr. Bobby was alluding, by going to producejustice.com, and we have a section on the website now on how to get on the show. You can send us your email, and we'll send you the link to come on the show live with us, or you can send us a pre-recorded audio or video file, and we will add it to the show. Just pick your favorite topic, and we'll fit you into the show based on the context and content of what we're talking about. And so we got a great show lined up today, and we're trying to keep Mr. Fuller's. There's 2 main things Mr. Fuller talked about. You heard that prophetic opening statement that he made, Mr. Bobby, and I'm amazed how many people around the world use that statement. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to play it just to remind you again. This statement that everybody seems to be using, and it came from Mr. Neely Fuller himself. Let me just run that again. I'll give you the long version of it.
You do not understand white supremacy, racism, because white supremacy is racism, what it is, and how it works. Everything else that you understand will only confuse you. I'm going to say that again. If you do not understand white supremacy, racism, what is white supremacy, and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you.
There it is. And
Yes,
speaking
sir.
about Mr. Confusion, Mr. Bobby, a couple of things that we're going to talk about that's happening in the news. And when you look at and you hear some of these things that are going on, all you have to do is just harken back to Mr. Fuller's statement that we just played. because some of this stuff is, you can really, like you said, beat your head into a buddy plug, banging your head on the wall trying to figure some of this stuff out. And then I'm going to say, save yourself the bodily harm by beating your head on the wall and scratching your head off by going back to Mr. Fuller's statement, because he laid it out. I'm reminding of a story, Mr. Bobby, that came out this week about a young woman. She was, I guess, in a park or somewhere with her kid, and somewhere along the way, she decided to use the N-word. And the gentleman with the young man, he approached the woman, and accused her of using the N-word, and she did not deny it. Matter of fact, she started using the N-word on him. And I mean, that's a story in itself, that somebody be so brazen on camera to use that language. And then the story progresses where the video goes viral, as the man that was doing the recording said he would. And she said she felt threatened by all of the attention she was getting, so she starts a GoFundMe page. And looks like she's approaching close to $1 million in people donating money to her cause. So it seems like the N-word is not only damaging and hurtful to many people, it seems to be also profitable. What do you think about that, Mr. Bob? Is that Mr. Fuller's? I mean, he said this stuff is going to confuse you. If you don't understand it, it's going to confuse you.
Yeah, absolutely. The world operates like that, and if that confusion is deliberate to keep us off track and to keep us distracted, I've been using that word a lot in my meetings this past week. The distraction or distractions to not focus on what is really happening. There are two types of, if you will, air quote, governments. One that you see, the visible, and one that you don't see. And the one that you don't see, the invisible, is the one that is controlling things by different types of intermediaries that are inclusive of everything. I'm trying to search for a word here, and it's intentional, because if they can keep you confused, then you won't see what is really going on. Oh yeah, they're inter and intra connected, and that really makes it confusing, because it seems like any way that you would go, you run into that brick wall, like in a maze or labyrinth.
Well, I tell you my take on it, Mr. Bobby. I've always felt a certain way about the word and our reaction to the word. And I must admit, whether I'm right or wrong, like I said, I'm gonna take cover under Mr. Fuller's VGQ. That I've never given the word the reverence or the weight that many people do. Because I think when you do that, you give power to people. You empowering other people. You giving them some undeserved control. Suddenly, a child can use a word that can bring an adult to his knees with the use of a single word. And it gives people a tool. People, white people and people, some who are racist and white supremacists. You give them a tool that you basically don't have an antidote for. There is no comparable comeback. So there's this imbalance. You have this word that can seem like only can be. It's probably one of the few words in the world where the recipient of the word is almost bound or duty bound to react according to the way many people feel about it. And the more you vilify the word, the more powerful it becomes. And you're giving this weapon, this weapon, this tool to people who want to harm you. So I've been of the school that I don't think people should use the word, but I, at the same time, don't feel that we should give the the people that use the word this kind of power to exact their reaction out of us, because that's exactly what they're trying to do. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play Mr. Fuller's. I'm going to play a take from Mr. Fuller on what he says, what he feels, and this he said, this is code. His reaction of what he feels about the word and what people should do if somebody happened to call you the N-word. So hang on a second. Let me just play Mr. Fuller. Let's get his take on this.
Someone called me just the other day and said that he wasn't thinking. That's the first thing he told me. And he got an arrest record now because a driver of a car slipped up in some kind of way and used the N-word. And because he wasn't ready for that, he hit the person. He hit the person driving the car. The person immediately got on his phone, called the law enforcement people. He got arrested, and it all came out about how that came about. And they said, well, you can't assault somebody from calling your name, so sorry about that. All right? And so he used the N-word, but he said he suddenly just lost his temper out of tradition. That's see, we lose our temper out of tradition. Suppose you didn't even know, you had never even heard the word. You wouldn't have had any reaction at all. See, but we have been trained to react to certain words. Now, why am I saying all this, talking about the book? The book is designed that we should know how to handle every situation that comes up in a way that no one will ever handle it better in 10 million years. That's what codification is supposed to be about. Every move that you make is supposed to be the best move that ever will be made. I said 10 million years, but I mean really infinity. It can't be better than that. That's the way black people should train ourselves to think. Now, that person has an arrest record now where he had no kind of record before. And an arrest record for assault is serious. You can be turned down for a whole bunch of jobs.
Yes.
All right? And he's kind of up in age. See what I mean? So you don't, hey, black people are known for our hot temper. Get mad about everything. Well, I don't even like the way you look at me. I'm mad. I got to do something about that. Where's my pistol? See, well, I can understand it, but they say, hey, the white supremacists say, you can always control those Negroes through their emotions. You can make them fire themselves on a job by just by certain words you can use or a certain way that you talk to them, and they'll walk off the job. Well, that's what you wanted them to do anyway. That's why, so the code is designed to do what? We master language. We don't let words master us under any circumstance. We're like ice when it comes to words. Somebody can say anything, any kind of old way. We ain't going to get disturbed by what they say. Watch what they do. Like fighters in the ring. They know that. You start playing into what the guy is saying, you're going to miss that left hook. See, he's talking that stuff to you when he's got you in a clinch. All right? You let that, and you start swinging wild. That's exactly what he wanted you to do. Lose control. You let the words bother you. That's why that next blow came out of nowhere and flattened you out across that ring. They said Muhammad Ali was good at that. I don't know.
So let me get this straight, Mr. Fuller. So you're driving in the car with your wife or whatever, and a peace officer stops you for whatever the reason and calls you a black NGR. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right in front of your woman. There's
Not only
an
that,
image.
calls her one too.
Okay, calls her one too. And at that time, even though you know that you're not one, you're saying you have to remain codified.
Codification says you're like a block of ice. None of that bothers you.
Wow. Mr. Bobby, reminds me of what you just said a minute, that distraction. He said, you focusing on that word like a box in the ring. You distracted over here. You don't see that left hook coming. So, so I thought that was a very good parallel. And that's true,
Absolutely.
though. You so focused on what people calling you, you don't see that they're taking your money, they're gentrifying you, they're taking away your voting rights. You're so focused on this word that's getting all this emotion out of you.
Yes, that's deliberate, Gate. It's deliberate because, see, they understand us more than we understand ourselves. They understand that we have power, but we don't know that we have power. We use that word so flippantly. We really don't understand, and they know that we don't understand. So what they have done, they being the supremacists, have created programs to keep us distracted. And one of the programs that I'm studying is the Boule. The Boule was allegedly started by a bunch of supremacists. Why? Well, the black population had begun to grow and begin to be prosperous with businesses and so forth, and begin to enter in different types of societal affairs, and they became a threat. So what they did, the supremacists did, is, the way that I understand it, is they created the Boule so that they could get black people into thinking that they were something else. But here's the caveat. They controlled it. The supremacists controlled the Boule, and people gravitated to that. You know, you want to be nice and go to all these social events and be chairman of a certain board and so forth. But behind the scene, they still control that, and they still do that by various ways. And if you don't understand that, as Fuller has stated many thousands of times, you will only be confused.
He said it so many times, and that's why you have to understand that one of the tactics, one of the weapons, is confusion. And Mr. Fuller spent many days and weeks and hours on the show talking about confusion and how to avoid confusion. He talks about also how you're in this prison yard, and many things that you do or don't do is likened to someone being in a prison yard. And matter of fact, let's listen to Mr. Fuller as he talks about the 9 areas of activity, and also he's going to talk about. Let him talk about being a prisoner of war.
Don't fight, don't flee. We are prisoners of war. Black people all over the world are already prisoners of war. It's not like we're being taken prisoner. In the system of white supremacy, you're already a prisoner. And your skin color is your prison uniform.
Right.
Every black person on this planet is in prison. We have to keep that in mind.
Well, now if you haven't already, check out the website. Mr. Fuller has a very comprehensive list of books that he recommends, and his reason for it is to draw the lesson from the book. I'm sorry, movies. His movie list. He has a movie list. So he wants you to draw lessons from these different movies. And one of those movies was Shawshank Redemption, and they were in a prison. And so one of the things that he's trying to do is to keep us reminded that if you have this dark skin, then that's your prison uniform. And unlike most ethnicities, you're identified immediately by somebody simply looking at the color of your skin. Now, another story that took us, caught the airwaves this week was this, well, there's so much going on. But the other one, matter of fact, let me just take a quick peek here, was this, these Afrikaners. Now, what Trump has done, the president of the United States, he's granted these white South Africans refugee status. As a matter of fact, he granted refugee status to these white Africans and said that they were being mistreated, discriminated against, even facing genocide in South Africa. Now, he spent much of his campaign, one of his core competencies has been to keep people out of the country who don't belong here. As a matter of fact, not only are they trying to keep people out, they're deporting people who've been in the country for 25 years in some cases. So these people are being deported, but at the same time, he's made this exemption for these white South Africans to come into the country. And matter of fact, 49 of them landed this week. And so it's really just a slap in the face. It's a continuation of what you're facing in this country, and not just country, as Mr. Fuller has said. Racism, white supremacy is a global issue. It's a system. It's a global system. So, I mean, wrap your brain around this for a minute. For many people, anybody who feels like that there's no such thing as racism, there's no such thing as white supremacy, whatever you want to call it. Here you have the president of the country, of this country, of these United States, and of course, Mr. Fuller says there's no such thing as a country. There's only one country, and that's the system of white supremacy. Granting special status to a group of white South Africans who are the descendants of the Dutch that were the authors of apartheid in that country for many years, that was the adversaries of the ANC and Nelson Mandela. They owned about 90+ % of the land, and the natural inhabitants own only about 4% of the land. And so what the government is trying to do is to right this wrong. And because of this, these refugees are feeling like they're being, I guess, victimized. And so the president has given them refugee status to allow them to come to the United States. Well, that is wrong on so many levels. And so it goes back to this whole saying about, if you don't understand what's going on, then if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything you think you understand is only going to confuse you. Now, what you can go back to this, and you look at many instances of things that are going on. Mr. Bob, we're going to talk about another topic. Now, Mr. Fuller was he also felt that you almost have to be insane to live in the system of white supremacy. And let me just run a clip of his statement. As a matter of fact, let me just put this up.
Supremacists dominate every move that black people make, either directly or indirectly, in every area of activity 24/7. Economics,
I'm on the air right now.
education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. And if you talk about sanity, there's no way to be in the system of white supremacy without being insane. The textbook itself says that. And I'm saying it. In the system of white supremacy, insanity is a requirement, particularly if you're black.
Now, Sassafras is responding to the action of Trump, who is giving refugee status to this group of white South Africans who landed on the shores of the United States this week, 49 of them, who claim they're being persecuted and that they're facing genocide when there are so many people that are indeed being persecuted, that are facing genocide. It's just, you really have to stay on top of this thing. What say you, Mr. Bobby?
Like I said before, all what you just said, and even in the previous thing about the prison, see, they're all distractions. And if you're not focused on the code like we are supposed to be, as Mr. Fuller suggested, like he said, everything else will what? Confuse you. And that's what we are operating under, no matter what it is, no matter what areas. South Africans coming over here and other people aren't. You see all these different things that are going on, but you still have to remain focused. What is really happening? They are all distractions, and they are designed that way to keep you from knowing the truth and doing what we are supposed to do. We're sitting up here, we're talking about it and all that every week, but still we lose focus because we let the N word or the people landing from South Africa or whatever is going on, it distracts us from dismantling and then replacing the system of racism because we're too busy doing all those other things. And that brings about, as Fuller stated, confusion. Here in America, they use race as a distraction, and it is formidable. Yes, a lot of stuff happens. But you know what? The real issue, America, or the so-called Northwest here in the Northwestern Hemisphere, is all about the green. That's the color. Money. Money. Even the Bible will tell you that the love of money is the root of all evil. Not some, but all. But they keep that away from us or you or me so that we are distracted on the little things in life that just keeps us thrown off the track, and then they can reign supreme as they have.
Well, you've said a mouthful in one of the words you used, and you've been echoed by Ngozi. He said distraction. That's what they are. They're trying to distract us. So when you see the president or Trump, whatever you want to call him, bringing in these South Africans, when you see him accepting $400 million jets from Qatar and claiming that, I'm not sure. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it anymore.
They don't have to.
Maybe that's right, Mr. Bobby. Maybe they don't, because it's part of the strategy. If they can keep you confused and distracted, it's better to make it, put it out there on Front Street, give you something to talk about, something to keep you away from the real issues of economics, or matter of fact, the 9 areas of activity. But Mr. Fuller has said that they will purposely confuse you in all 9 areas of activity.
Yes.
That is part of the plan.
Yeah, that's the strategy, but we get so sidetracked by all these things that are happening all over. Look at the war, for example, Pakistan and India. My question was, who gave them permission to do that? Both of them are nuclear powers. They were fight. Who gave them permission to do that, and who was that financed? I could go on and on about that, but the fact of the matter is they had to get permission to do that. And that was a distraction. That's all that was, a distraction, because people are still making money. And like you were just stating, they're just doing things and they ain't even trying to, they don't have to hide it because the system that they have created allows them to do what they do. That's why it has to be dismantled and replaced with justice.
Dismantled and placed with justice. Mr.
Replaced.
Fuller. Replaced, absolutely. Now, Mr. Fuller's definition of justice is very plainly, don't mistreat anybody. That was his first thing. It was 2 parts. First thing is don't mistreat anyone. His second part was to guarantee that people who need help the most, guaranteeing that they get the most constructive help. That's Mr. Fuller's definition of justice. Now, we're quoting taking a lot of quotes from Mr. Fuller's books. He wrote 3 books. You can get those books by going to producejustice.com. As a matter of fact, you can also keep up with the show. And what we're doing, there are some new things coming down the pike. I've been meeting with the family and Mark, and we have some new materials to release, some original video of Mr. Fuller and Dr. Francis. And so you want to stay tuned to this station. And we are here every Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Also, when you go to the website, check out the page called Counter Race CRC Show. You'll see the tab in the top. And it also has, you can watch the show live. You don't have to go to social media if you don't want to. But if you do go to social media, we have it also on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And we also have instructions on how you can participate in the show. I think it was about a week or 2 ago. We were flooded with inquiries about how can I get on the show? How can I get on the show? Well, we made it easy for you now. We are going to include a component at some point where you can actually call in, but right now we're doing it digitally. You can send in your pre-recorded audio or video, and we have instructions on Produce Justice on how you can do that. And you can also join us live by sending us an email at contact@producejustice.com and let us know what date you're available, topics you want to talk about, and any other information you want to send. And we will screen and bring in, we won't get everybody, but we're going to bring in some people onto the show. You'll sit right here on the stage with us and present your questions, your comments. And we want to make this show engaging. This is actually your show as much as ours. We're just the host.
Yes.
Mr. Fuller was about to work.
Yeah,
yes,
let me say this, Gate. I was speaking with Black Tony, and he made I thought it was a good suggestion. He wanted to know if it is possible, since we talk about her a lot and Fuller, that we could also hear the voice of Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. And he made this point. He said, we talk about her, but many people don't know what she sounds like. Now, Fuller, we talk about, and we know what he sounds like. So is it possible that we could get maybe some sound bites from her so people can, at least by their hearing, identify her?
Mr. Fuller, I'm going to do you one better. I'm
okay.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm going to do you one better. We're going to bring on video of Dr. Francis and Mr. Fuller on the same stage. Yeah, that is coming. So I'm glad you brought that up. I met with
Black Tony did that.
Yeah. So we're gonna actually bring Black Tony from Virginia Beach. Is that Black Tony from Virginia Beach?
No. He's just a person I've been knowing for quite a while.
Okay. But so yes, I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, we will have Dr. Francis, and not just Dr. Francis, but many other people that Mr. Fuller has engaged with over the years. And so we have some footage. We're going to have Mr. Fuller speaking his own words, and you'll be able to see him actually speak. Right now, many of the clips that we're playing are from the Counter Racist Code show that was on Blog Talk for 5 years.
Yeah.
So Bobby was the co-host with Mr. Fuller. I was the producer. And so it's from that show that we have continued the show, the Counter Racist Code show. And as a matter of fact, it's Neely Fuller Jr.'s Counter Racist Code show. This is the original show of Mr. Fuller by Mr. Fuller. So you want to share this. Also, when you listen to the show, please like the show and share it. And also follow us. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. We also have a page on Instagram. You can get all of that information also on producejustice.com. And also, don't forget the book. He wrote his original book in 1984, the original Counter Racist Code show, and Counter Racist book, United Compensatory Independent Code book. And then he wrote a word guide in 2010. And then in 2016, he expanded the original book and both the books. So you can buy them in a bundle. You can get all three. You can get two. Have some nice bundles put together. So Nicole said it would be nice to see the video of Dr. Francis about her education on gun and pool table. Hey, thank you for the comment there. So that people can be aware of the symbols and how they are used to conquer. Hey, Nicole, I like that. I have to check that out myself. That's very profound, very profound. Now, we're talking about today a couple of topics on the table. We started out talking about this lady used the N-word, and she went viral. She said the black kid stole some items out of her diaper bag, so she got very fluent in N-wordology. The father of the kid videoed her, and it all went viral. So she went out here and put up a GoFundMe account, and now she's about to be a millionaire. Man,
yeah,
we knew it could be harmful, but we didn't know it could be that profitable. But that's what it's going to do, Mr. Bobby. Like I said, it's going to continue the confusion, and it's going to spawn a rash now of people using the N-word and trying to go viral to make themselves another $1 million.
Yeah,
crazy
they'll take that. But if a black person were to do that, they wouldn't get no $1 million in doing that. But that's the way the system is. It's built in to discriminate, to alienate, or marginalize people who have dark skin. That's just the way that it is. You use the example of the white South Africans that had landed here after the administration said that you couldn't come here, but let them come here. See, that's to get you mad. You dark-skinned people mad and all upset. It's not going to be right, because the system of racism, white supremacy, is an unjust system, period.
Yes.
And you gave the definition of it about what Fuller mentioned about what justice is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, guaranteeing that everybody get treated right, and that those that need the most constructive help get it. That means making up for what was lost or taken or stolen.
That's right. That's exactly right. Now, in line with this topic of the name calling, the young white woman called the kid, called him the N-word. Mr. Fuller that was one of his trademark signature themes about name calling. He said you shouldn't call people names, period. He don't care. He doesn't care who you are. I mean, of course, especially not the N-word, but he didn't think you should call anybody anything outside the name they wanted to be called. As a matter of fact, let's hear a clip about Mr. Fuller as he talked about this thing of name calling.
Don't name call. That's one of what I call the 10 stops, which is in the textbook. Stop doing it if you're doing it. Stop name calling. Never call anybody, regardless of whom it is, by any name except the name that person wants to be called. Even if they change their name 3 times a day, every day. The person that you work with says, my name is Dap Daddy today. I'm letting all y'all know that. So you say, Dap Daddy? Yeah. Don't call me George. That was my name yesterday. Today is Dap Daddy. All right. That's what the code says. Call people by the names they want to be called. Never call them by any other name except the name that the person wants to be. The person is entitled to that. Your name is George. Your name is George Thompson. I know your name. No, you don't.
if you go according to the code, that person's name is what they told you that it is. And you go along with that. What is it costing you? Nothing. And it's the correct thing to do. The person is entitled to that. Somebody named them, and they either accepted it or rejected it. So if they call themselves by whatever name they want to be called, do that. And don't call the person by any other name or title. If the person says, I'm the supervisor, they say, well, I've been told that Miss Greenfield is the supervisor. Yeah, well, I said I'm the supervisor too. Or I am the supervisor. And just say when you see me, hey, Mr. Supervisor. Yeah, that's what I want to be called. So that's what you call them. Now, Mr. Greenfield says, what's all this stuff about George Phillips being the supervisor? I'm the supervisor. Well, ma'am, I'm calling him by the name that he wants me to call him. So now, if there's a dispute about that, you take it up with him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's how you handle that. That's how I would handle that right this morning. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know what he told you. I know what he told me.
Wow. I think that was kind of amusing. Mr. Fuller said, if you want to be called one thing in the morning and another thing in the afternoon, then according to the code, that's your right.
Hey, Gabe, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Did you say, excuse me for interrupting you, but did you say that you said you got one better? Did you say you have a video of Mr. Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing that you're going to show us?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Not today. Not today, yeah, but we will.
Okay.
Matter of fact, as I've stated on several occasions, this show is evolving. That's why I ask you to stay tuned, engage with us, help us grow the show. We want to get you on here as well and let you participate. But we also have some very, very engaging content, including original videos of Mr. Fuller that nobody's ever seen other than the Fuller family. Some of it I haven't even seen myself. Mm-hmm. We have video of Mr. Fuller and Dr. Francis Cress-Welsing together. And we also have some unreleased works by Mr. Fuller.
Okay.
He left behind some notes. I met with Mark, his son, and we talked about putting together it's going to be another release coming out. Also, some things we're going to be doing. I'm going to release some of the books in hardback covers. So there's some exciting things that are happening right now behind the scenes, and we're working on it. And we really appreciate everyone who's been one of the ones who's followed Mr. Fuller for the past, well, as long as you've known Mr. Fuller. And some people, they've been following Mr. Fuller wherever he was, whether he was on Talk Tame at before that, sometime before when the books first came out, and they had to find his number just to communicate with him. Well, we've advanced technologically, but the message is still the same. He still feels that we're all in a prison yard. He still feels, he talks very vehemently about the 9 areas of activity. And matter of fact, he was also a big proponent of health. You would think Mr. Fuller would just talk about racism and white supremacy, but he talked about these 9 areas, and some people say health should have been one of those 9 areas, but he had an answer to that too. But let me just play you a clip about Mr. Fuller and how he felt about health. And I always found this interesting because many of us have health challenges, and We try to make things better among ourselves. But he felt that this was something that he should address, and he did.
You don't have health. Everything else that you're talking about is down the drain anyway. You have to start watching what your body is like. Look at your body. Is it the way that it ought to be? Look at how your body feels. Look at what your body can do and can't do. And if the answer is no, that it can't do things it's supposed to be doing, first thing you need to do is check out the food that you put in it.
Check out the food that you put in it. Man, I'm telling you, I need to follow that advice. I think everybody under the sound of my voice probably has some challenge health-wise. Some are more serious than others. But Mr. Fuller says that one way you can help address that is to watch the food that you put in that body of yours. And so in the midst of all the confusion and all of the other things, and the assault on our community, fighting this injustice, we also have to take the time to take care of ourselves. We're not going to be here to fight anybody. We're not going to be here to replace any system of injustice if we're not here. So that was another thing I want to drop in today, because what I'm trying to do in Mr. Fuller's absence is to make sure that we keep his signature bits of advice alive. So we're going to be picking topics. Sometimes they're going to be tied into things that are happening in the news. Sometimes we're just going to pull some items from his book. Sometimes we're going to pull some items from one of his shows, just to let you know that this is important. Mr. Fuller wrote a code, and some people have even asked me, I think on a few shows ago, they're asking what motivated Mr. Fuller to do such a thing in the first place. I mean, he was working in the government. He worked at the Bureau of Engraving for about 32 years. He served in the Air Force, in the Army. He fought in Korea. I mean, he wasn't just sitting around twiddling his thumbs, but something compelled him to write this book.
When I originally started writing a textbook, it was for me, Neely Fuller, so that I would always have the strongest hand in every situation. That's what I was writing it for, because I was messing up everything. I was in complete chaos. I was sick of it, being in chaos. So I said, I got to have a code for everything that I do, for everything that I say. And so that's what it is. And other people took an interest in the way I went about doing things, and it kind of caught on, so I kept adding to the code as situations came up. So anything that black people are doing, you have to consult them, just like I didn't consult any black people about what I was writing. They start asking me questions because they saw that a lot of the things that I would do would work, and a lot of things that they were doing didn't work.
Mr. Bobby, you sat at the right arm of Mr. Fuller for many years, and I mean, anything that you picked up from him, like he just talked about why he wrote the book.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm still learning. That's why I do the research that I do. Sometimes I'm up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning researching stuff and researching the research. And one of the things I've learned, what you were talking about when you mentioned about food and what we put in our body, I've lost about 50 pounds because of the way that I was eating. I got up to 290, 287 pounds. And I just happened to look at myself and realize that, man, I'm 13 pounds from 300. I had to do something about that. And so I asked God to help me learn about eating, what to eat, what not to eat, and change the way that I began to eat. Now, it was a struggle, but I learned it because I was killing myself by eating, just like when Fuller did. And you mentioned about food just before you played that. There's a brother from the Nation of Islam. His name is Nuri Muhammad. And if you ever get a chance to listen to the brother talk about foods, in particular fast foods, I am not going to name the chains that he mentioned, but a lot of the food that we eat, quote unquote, is not really food. And we ingest that, and it has dramatic effects on our bodies, such as high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart issues, and so forth, because of the things that we put in our body. And most of us don't want to change because we've been trained that way.
Man, you're exactly right, Mr. Bobby. I also want to just say thank you to the many comments that are coming in. There, I would say I was starting once upon a time. I was going to try to read them, but what I can invite you to do when you go back and look at the show, and I'm putting up some of the comments on the screen. And I do invite you to go back and visit the show again on YouTube. And you can go back through the feed and just watch the engagement on the show. There's a button down at the bottom that you can actually follow the thread of comments. And we're putting some of the comments on the screen. Some are somewhat wordy, so we don't have time to read them all. But I'm just letting you know that they are read. They are part of the record, and we'll go back and read them when we go back and look at the show. And I invite the followers and the people who are tuning in to do that as well. We talked about earlier, Mr. Bobby, about people participating and sending in their testimonies and comments and coming on the show. Just want to add to the stage one comment from one of the listeners who was on the Blog Talk show with you and Miss Fuller, Mr. Bobby. And this is kind of we'd ask you to send in your videos or your comments. If you just send in an audio, we can overlay it with some of our own graphics. So you can send audio, or you can, like I said, you can send your headshot along with your video, or you can tune in live. But you can get that by going to Produce Justice. You'll see the instructions on how to engage us on the show.
Junior, it's just been the man with every game as far as all the 9 areas of activity. They are real. I go through them. We all go through them every day, trying to, maintain, do what we got to do as people. So, and it has helped me out, since I've been listening since 2015 to 16. So, like I said, Mr. Neely Fuller and his class, of people, he is the man, the one, and along with other greats too, that had spoke about the 9 areas of activity. So I just wanted to give the acknowledgement and just give the credit where it's due. Just want to say thank you, and everybody just keep up the work and have a good day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your comment, Brandon and Tidewater. Okay.
So we do encourage participation, and like I said, we're still learning as this platform evolves. We want to get you involved. This is going to be a community. This is not just the Mr. Bobby and Gate show. This is a show for everyone. Mr. Fuller, his thing was to make sure that the work continues. It's not about any individual. It's not about Mr. Bobby, not about Mr. Fuller, as he stated, not about me. It's about the work. Mr. Fuller was about one of the things I used to like what Mr. Fuller said, if you're dealing with people and you get into one of these conversations, whether it's a racist or white supremacist or somebody where you're trying to avoid conflict or get some kind of constructive dialogue going, he said, stay in the question and answer lane. That was one of his signature bits of advice. Some people have been asking today for advice on the feed. And one of the things that we would say today is that when people take these intransigent stances, one thing you can do when you get in an argument with somebody, when you're trying to get somebody to see your point of view, when you're trying to eliminating confusion, one of Mr. Fuller's steadfast piece of advice was to solve the problem. The best route to problem solving was to get into the question and answer.
So keep in mind, laser focus, all problems are solved through the process of questions and answers. So if there's a problem with a word of any kind, a person will say that I'm a staunch Republican. I'm going to give you a codified response to that. Think immediately. I'm telling the whole world this. Now, if you have a problem understanding what that person said, you ask a question. Sir, ma'am, what is a staunch Republican? And never interfere with the answer. Let the person answer. Don't argue about the answer. This is very important. Just be ready with the next question. That question and answer system will work every time and take everybody, not just you, right where they need to be.
The question and answer will take you exactly where you need to be.
Yeah. Somebody I saw on the comments, somebody said we need a fast solution. You can forget about that because all things are a process. It's going to take time. I don't know how much time, but it is going to take time for it to work. It's going to take time for us to dismantle the system so that we can replace it with justice. And that's going to take time. There are no swift solutions to what we are doing. You have to take your time. Before we go, and staying focused and staying codified, this is all well and good. We're on the air, we're talking, we're here worldwide. But when we shut down and you go out that door and somebody gets in your face and calls you the N-word, that's when the rubber meets the road. What are you going to do? Are you going to lose everything that we talked about? See, that's why you really have to stay focused. And that's what Fuller did when those two guys came up when he was having a meeting and said some things to him. He came down front. They came down front. But then when he asked him to state the thing, they said something and then ran out. But he stayed cool and calm and collected, because he was ready to question him. But what did you mean by that? And that's what we have to do. Because we can sit up here right now and talk about it, but when we go outside or out that door and somebody calls you that N-word, what you going to do then, brother?
You're right, Mr. Bobby. And that's why we started the show with the lady who's making $1 million now by using the N-word. And Mr. Fuller gave a very eloquent response on what you should do if that happens to you. He said it's really basically get a reaction out of you, and it's probably going to, if you react the way they want you to react, you're probably going to end up in jail or worse.
Yeah.
But he said if you're focusing on the word and people's superficial actions, you're not going to be, as he used the boxing analogy, you folks are like, Muhammad Ali used to do that a lot. He would get inside his opponent's brain he'd call them names and have them all flustered. And like Mr. Fuller said, you get so distracted by that, you're not going to see that left hook coming. And so that's what we have to do. We have to not be confused. We have to stay vigilant, keep our dukes up. And yes, somebody even put up sticks and stones, may break my bone, but words will never hurt me. Mr. Fuller was very clear. So I would just close by saying we've covered quite a bit of topics today. But if you're still confused and you want more information, get the books by going to producejustice.com. You get 1 book, 2 books, 3 books. You can have the book and give it to somebody else as a gift. And that's going to put a cap on the show for today. Any closing words, Mr. Bobby?
Yes, producejustice.com.
All right, we will be back next week with another show, with another set of topics, with some more quotes from Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. And so set your alarm every week for 9 o'clock, and we'll be right here. You can go straight to the website, producejustice.com. You can also go to your favorite social media platform, YouTube. You can get all the past shows right there by going to YouTube. We have in one in a playlist. And of course, we'll be back next week. Mr. Bobby, we'll see you next week. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
All right, thank you.
If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it works, everything else that you do understand will confuse you. In all of these 9 areas of activity, economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Anywhere on the planet, minute by minute, day by day, all of the time.